going to get started. And this morning we have Linda Kusmer, who founded Total Interior Design in 1976, specializing in the psychology of interior design, a member of American Society of Interior Design, and served on the board. She participated in national research projects in interior design. Her work has been published locally and nationally. She has served as the interior designer for Aberdeen Heights Retirement Community. Please welcome Linda.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I see some familiar faces. First of all, I'm going to apologize ahead of time if anything rings, because I don't quite know what to do with phones. I will turn them off immediately, but if it rings, forgive it. So today we're here to talk about the upside to downsizing. And I want to give you a little bit of background first. Judy already mentioned I started the company in 1976. The interesting thing was the other day I was on a Zoom program, and one of the questions that was asked was, what gift did someone give you that significantly changed your life? And immediately I thought of my mother, because in 1976, I needed $75 to start my business. And my mother gave me that as a gift. And that's how 45 years later, I am talking to you about interior design. So that was the gift that was the most significant that changed my life. I've been practicing the psychology of interior design because actually, even though I started professionally in 76, I was born to this business. My father had furniture stores, and I loved furniture. And I actually made the biggest sale of the week when I was allowed to be a salesperson on my 10th birthday. So that launched my career and also made me understand how our surroundings and furnishings and different things affect people in a positive or negative way. And so that's why and psychology was one of my favorite subjects along with art. And that's how it all evolved into becoming that. And I think it was really important because in the days when I started the company, designers were very elitist. And if you didn't get what they wanted you to have, well, that was unheard of. You had to do what the designer said. And I wanted to change that. And so I went in with a completely different viewpoint. The whole point is to listen to your client and understand, and then be able to get whoever is living in that space to agree. And if they don't, then I use subliminal messaging to help balance out the problems. So before we get to the downsizing, I thought I would give you an example of how our surroundings affect us through subliminal messaging done right. I had a client that the husband was completely opposed to the project. She wanted to redo the family room. He did not. He had his spot. He had his recliner. It was pointing right to the television, and he didn't want anything changed. I don't know if any of you can relate to that. But so he was very upset. And of course, obviously, they had been arguing about it. So when she hired me to come in for a consultation, I listened to the two of them, and I said to him, I said, look, if I promise you that you will be happy with it, happier than where you are now, what would you say? I don't believe it, he says, and I don't want you to do it. I said, okay, I'll take it a step further. If you are not happy with it, you don't have to pay me. Well, he was shocked. And he says, are you serious? I said, you'll have to pay for the things you bought, but you won't have to pay for my design time and so on. He says, okay. He says, but I doubt it. He says, this sounds like a deal for me because I don't have to pay you. Well, I go through the process. I learned enough about him. I planted subliminal messaging around him, particularly to his peripheral vision, where he's watching television, but there's a piece of artwork right here, and he has no clue. So I come back and he says, I said, well, what do you think? He says, I don't know how you did it. He says, but I have to pay you. I said, what a good idea. I said, I'm glad to hear it. And he said, it's wonderful. He says, I love it. You kept everything so that I am comfortable. It really was more than that. It was changing. I changed the space, but I made sure that there were elements in it that still spoke to him personally. And so he felt comfortable. The reason I'm bringing that up is because when you start to downsize, there's more reasons to downsize than just to move. We need to be downsizing even if we're not moving yet. Now, COVID really contributed to that because I don't know about you, but I know myself and a lot of friends, when we were first locked down, we just said, okay, well, we'll use this time to start clearing things out. And I did do some. I have to admit, I kind of didn't continue enough. So I still have a lot to do, but it did get it started. I'm not planning on moving right now, but I know I need to continue to go through my things. One of the things that I am doing and that I would hope all of you would be doing is telling our grown children to get their stuff out of our house. I know I still have quite a bit of it, and I'm just like telling them, come through it, go through it. You don't want it, throw it away, but get it out of here. So I would suggest that would be one thing you could start doing if you still have that in there. The other thing, of course, is when you start thinking about your, ridding yourself. And it's really, that's why I say it's to lighten up. It's a positive thing. That's why I say it's the upside to downsizing. It's wonderful to lighten up. We have so much stuff. We don't even know we have it. I guarantee you, I don't know a lot of the things that are downstairs in my house. My older daughter is wonderful with that. She has a principle and she does it. That's what's so great. If you haven't seen it, touched it, used it, or know where it is in 2 years, get rid of it. And she actually does do those things. Now, the rest of us, I don't know about that, but it is a good idea because all it does is pile up. So that would be step one. Just lighten up your life, even if you're not planning on moving. And the best way to do that is a little at a time so you're not overwhelmed. There's a lot of companies that will come pick up things, a lot of places that desperately need donations. So, you have a lot of advantages nowadays to get rid of your things that you don't know you even have anymore, especially the stuff that's broken. I don't know about anybody, but I know a lot of people have a lot of broken stuff that they absolutely don't use. So if you are thinking of downsizing to the point where you're going to be moving to a smaller place, then you have to approach it where you first know where you're going. Once you know where you're going, then you should get the measurements, particularly if possible floor plans, because once you have a floor plan, that's where you're going to start to really work on what you can take and what you don't need to take and so on. So what I want to do at this point is show you a photograph. Judy, if you could show the first photograph. Okay. This is an apartment in a retirement community. It's just wonderful. It's 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, and this is the great room. The kitchen is Well, when you're looking at the photograph, it's to the right, so it's open to the kitchen, and there's a breakfast bar, etc. What I did was I was hired to go to help this woman do this downsizing. Her husband passed away, her children were all grown, and she was completely overwhelmed. It was a very large 2-story on Ladue Road, and it was filled. It was just filled with things. So I went over there. She had told me that she had found the place she wanted to move, and I had her get the floor plans. And so what we did was we went over, I went through the house. We talked about the things that she absolutely could not give up. Interestingly enough, there were just there weren't as many things as you would expect. This beautiful rug on the floor here was the key thing. She loved it. It was from her travels, and so we definitely wanted to use that. The piano, and importantly, the etagere in the corner, because that displays the little mementos and artifacts that meant a lot, that means a lot to her. The table over on the right that has the glass shaded lamp is a family heirloom. The beauty of it is it also flips out so that you can have two people sit there and eat if you want. So we really kept things down. Now, the upholstered furniture is new. She did not bring any of her upholstered furniture. And we reframed the artwork, etc. And of course, we added new, window treatments. It's a beautiful, beautiful apartment. And she has access to a patio, which I think is wonderful. But the idea is, think about this. We are looking basically at one room, and all she needed were those things I mentioned out of a 2-story, 5-bedroom, 4-bath home. And she loves the lightness of it. She loves unburdening herself with all of that stuff. So once you get past the angst of having to think about giving up or giving away things that you've just gotten used to having around you, it's just such a transformation to be able to see that you can have a very happy, lightened up, world. So then I'm going to go to the next picture. This is a bedroom in the apartment. And the reason I wanted you to see this is because downsizing does not mean lack of luxury or glamour or beauty. It just means that you are moving to a space that is more doable, that it is easier to maintain. Whatever the purpose is that you're moving, you're not giving up things. You're going towards something new and something wonderful. Can I see the next slide, please? This is in a retirement community. This is a display apartment that I did. If you look back at where the table and chairs are, the doorway just to the right is the kitchen, and a doorway just to the left of that leads out to a deck. Again, this is about knowing that you're going to something wonderful because the space is so well planned. Getting items that will hold things like the display cabinet where the things that are important to you can be displayed, and having the council here with the drawers where you have good storage in every space that you occupy. Those are important things to consider when you are going to a smaller living space. I think we'll do the next slide. This is a bedroom in that apartment. Again, pay attention to the 2 chests of drawers. So there's a lot of good storage there. And the fact that you have a nice spacious room where you even can sit and relax or put your shoes on. So there's a lot of beauty and advantage to that. I think we'll go to the next one. I wanted you to see this. This is one of the, I guess you'd call just visiting areas in the complex. And that's wonderful because you don't have to entertain in your smaller place unless you want to. If you want to have a group of people or family or whatever, it's wonderful to know that you can go to these charming sitting areas and entertain in these kind of spaces rather than always having it in your own apartment. Next, please. Next slide. Now, I wanted to give you another example. This is a situation where it is not in a retirement community. This is just that they chose to go to a condo from another home. And again, you'll notice the whole back wall gives you the advantage of displaying these things that are important to you in their storage. But this is a beautiful, open, airy space. And again, for me, and now she chose to do all new furniture. Everything in here is new, other than the items that you see on the shelves. Those are things that were important to her. And she did bring, her bedroom furniture, but this area is completely, we did a whole new thing. How fun is that? How fun is it to be able to look forward to a brand new space where you can change it up to your today's look and to your taste instead of bringing things that you had or liked 30 years ago. This gave her an opportunity, gives us all an opportunity if we choose to start fresh and in a more manageable space. Next slide, please. This is the kitchen in that condo. I wanted to point that out, that very happy breakfast area, but the thing is the kitchen, the working kitchen is to the left of this picture. How nice is it to have the kind of storage that this is, and then again, more space for special items. So if someone is looking to downsize, those are things to be looking for. How you can maximize the space so that you can keep some of your things and particularly display some things that are important to you, so that you don't feel like you're giving up everything that you love and you're still comforted again by these things. These are subliminal messages so that if you're in the space, it can bring back happy memories just by having these different items placed around your new space. Judy, is there any others or did we finish the slides?
That was the end of the slides.
Well, we can go back to the regular format. Okay. Put us back. Thank you. Before I go on, I think I will ask if there is any pertinent questions at this point so that if somebody has a thought, they may want to speak about it now, or we can wait till the end for questions.
Isabel, do you have a question?
Me?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. I have a lot of books. I have like 4 bookshelves filled with books. And I've been trying to get rid of some of them, but I'm having a very hard time. I mean, I have enough books to open a bookstore. So, what can you tell me about this?
Is this for you because you're moving, or is this that you just want to kind of lighten things up? What is the
Well, we're thinking, we have a pretty big house and we're thinking of moving to a condo, and I'm getting rid of things all the time. But the one thing that I'm having a hard time is with the books, because I can't take all of them.
So your difficulty is you don't want to give them up. Is that what the problem is?
I don't want to give them up, but I know I have to because I can't take them all.
The only way it's possible, and this again depends on what kind of space you would be moving to, you could actually, you know how I showed you the wall that had the whole back wall of that condo was display shelves and some storage. If
Yeah.
those books were so important to you, you could always take a room and have a whole wall of bookshelves built.
Hmm.
And that way you could keep, I don't know how many books you have, but that would afford you a lot of space to put the book.
Okay.
Because I'm a
Yeah.
book person, so I understand. I really, it is hard to give up books.
But how can you, if you like all of them, how can you determine which ones that you want to get rid of? You know what I mean? Are
It
you just going
depends. I mean, if you haven't picked up that book and read it for a very long time, pass it on to somebody that you know will appreciate it. And of
yeah,
course, if you have any Yiddish books, by the way, you can
yeah.
donate them to the Yiddish Book Museum, which is spectacular. So, and that would be very appreciated.
Where could I donate? I do have a lot of books talking about Judaism. So where could I donate those?
Well, um, I know the difference. I know at United Hebrew, which is where I belong, we have a library. And I'm sure some of the other, synagogues, temples, and so on have libraries, and you could check into that. And I know Federation did, but I'm not sure what the status of that is. And of course, our retirement communities would probably really appreciate that. Crown Center or
Okay.
Mirowitz. So as far as the
Okay.
Jewish books, there's plenty of places that would appreciate
You want some books?
it. Sure, what can you have? Well, we need to talk.
I can give you a book on any subject.
then I'm going to have the same problem you have. Speaking of that, I got to tell you, I was thinking about talking to all of you about this subject, and I thought to myself, this is incredible. I've been doing this for 45 years, and it's this amazing cycle. Because when I started out, I started with a lot of clients that, you know, first houses, starter houses, and then they moved up and I went with them and we furnished the next house and sometimes to the third house. So I'm actually the one who created them having so much of this stuff. And now I'm working with everybody to get rid of it. I mean, the irony of this is amazing, but it's true. And I feel like George Carlin. Do you guys remember George Carlin and
Oh
his
yeah.
his routine about stuff? Anybody remember that routine? That
Yeah.
to me, that was the funniest, but I've been living with it for years because that's what he said. He said, when we're young, we want to accumulate a few things. We have nothing. And then because we moved to a bigger house and we got more stuff. And then we got to a bigger one and more stuff. And now we're stuck with all this stuff. I mean, it's really true. But the first thing you want to do with all that stuff is find out who wants it or who could use it. There are so many people in this world today that desperately need some stuff and they don't have it. And Salvation Army, I know one of the projects that American Society of Interior Designers did that I was involved with. And I can tell you this was one of the most gratifying experiences that I've had. We were called in by the um, Salvation Army and asked to furnish and decorate some apartments for people who were just coming out of, abject poverty, where they were able to get a job and find a place to live. And so Salvation Army was doing like transitional housing, and we volunteered to do this. And so we collected a lot of things that people donated, and we put these apartments together. And there was a Christmas party where we got to be with the families that moved into these apartments. And I was talking to another designer, and all of a sudden, this little boy runs over and says, did you help do the apartments? And I said, yes. And he threw his arms around my legs and said, thank you. I have never had a bed before. And it was
Oh,
just like, oh my God. So, yes, we have a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of people out there that really could benefit by the stuff we don't even know we have anymore. So, particularly during COVID, where so many people have lost so much.
yeah.
So, we can get rid of it in a positive way, that's for sure. Um,
Su-
I'm trying to decide whether,
Well, Susan has a question. She
oh,
wants
good.
to know what is the best way to merge traditional items that have been inherited with more modern pieces when you love both styles and they have sentimental value.
Great question. I've been doing this for years because I'll start with a client and I will specifically say to them, do you have anything that, you inherited? Um, what do you have in the basement? And sometimes they'll say, oh, I do have this chair or whatever. And we'll take it and we'll actually redo it. Now, that can be through refinishing or painting, definitely reupholstering the fabric. And if it is to combine with contemporary, then of course that has to do with what color the finish is and what type of fabric you use. Now, I had one client that we did that with, and it was a grand chair. It was all hand carved. It was very Edwardian. It was really neat. And it didn't go with the rest of her house. But we brought it up, and there was a space in the foyer, and I recovered it with a more updated fabric and so on. It ended up being her favorite piece that had been in the basement for years. This was her favorite piece, and everybody who came to their house, that was what they raved about. So, yes, you can take antiques, it can be case pieces that you can change the finish, upholstered pieces, whatever. And I've done it for years, and it's awesome. It really is a great thing to do.
Do we have other questions? If you would like, you could raise your hand. You can type in the chat box.
Yeah, talk to me, guys. I'm sure you have something. Share a story with me. How's that?
There, Karen Wilner, would you like to share?
I sure would. First of all, Linda's my sister. So I always have to brag about that. Uh, but since I just recently went through this in the last couple, 3 years, and my sister was a tremendous help to me. And it wasn't always about uh, the doing of a piece, but the support, because it is a thing to downsize and what to keep and what not to keep. And I did find a system. Well, I found a couple of systems that helped me greatly, which was making sure that the pieces I was not keeping went to people or organizations that would please me after I thought about it, because those are my new memories. The bedroom set went to so and so, nice young couple. I still have the memory of getting rid of the nursery. Okay, my kids are in their mid to late 50s, and I still have a warm feeling because of who got that nursery. So, and those are memories that I can remind myself of where the pieces went, where the books went. And actually, in the corner of my picture is a book spine that I have. I can't remember now exactly, but I think it's like 82 books on that one single book spine in the corner near the closet, and they're easily accessible. So, but the thing that helped me the very most was to honor the pieces that I was not keeping by thanking them for their beauty or their use, so that I didn't feel that I was disrespecting those things that I respected and loved for so long. So I was able to just be able to put it aside after I thanked it and held it and let it go, and then I made sure that it went to the right people, and that was very helpful for me. And my sister was also there saying, "Do it."
And you also got your children to get their stuff out of the house.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
I actually kept two large dish pack things from the time that they were in kindergarten through the time they graduated high school. And how was I going to get rid of that? And would they, I mean, I had, you know, pictures from kindergarten that they made and all this kind of stuff. But I'll tell you what we did with that. That was a really wonderful experience. Instead of waiting for me to die and then have these boxes that they're going to discover, which is my original plan, we we had a day where we sat down and went through the boxes together. And it was a wonderful, I mean, had their baby books in there, everything. And they were like, "Oh my God, I remember doing that." And it was a wonderful, loving day. And then, of course, they really didn't want most of that junk. We threw it away, but we shared it before we did that, and that was wonderful. And then there was, the stuffed animals that they couldn't part with were still there, and that kind of thing. So there was a lot of good memories in the move, as exhausting as it was. So
I
share
think
that.
it's so wonderful that, you made an experience out of it as opposed to just looking through boxes. It sounds wonderful. And it always helps to have a little friendly voice, like a sister or a friend, to say, do you really need that anymore?
Well, no, and that's exactly what she did. What are you going to do with that? Is it something you can't part with?
Yeah.
And I'd have to really feel it rather than think it, and
Mhm.
then I could just thank it and get rid of it.
Yeah. So we have another comment here in the chat box. Marlene says, I am in the midst of this downsizing process. I have my grandmother's break front that I'm ready to let go of and need to. We cannot take it with us. I'm finding it very hard to get rid of. The young people do not want china cabinets and places buying used furniture are saying they can't sell break fronts. They said they are left from grandma's. Do you have any resources to take something like that?
I know that there is, oh, what's the name of it? There, it's a big warehouse store behind, right next to Sam's on Manchester. What's
Oh,
the name?
restore.
Restore,
Mm-hmm.
Restore, and they will take, pieces of furniture. Again, Salvation Army, I might, and I think there is one other.
There's also this it's a not-for-profit organization that works with a lot of, it's called Home Sweet Home. They work with, like the McDonald house that
Yes,
furnishes, places for families to stay, and a lot, I mean, they have a long list of places that they supply furniture to, and it's an idea.
yes,
Home
that's a
Sweet
great
Home, you can look it up online. But they, they're accepting things, furniture and things, and they're giving it to, places that
hmm
help. Or yeah, they're just organizations like the McDonald's house, and I can't even remember all of them, but there's like a long list. You can look it up online. So anyway, that's an idea.
Yeah, somebody just put in the chat though that Home Sweet Home won't take break fronts. Man,
Oh, oh,
all of us
oh, I'm
grandmas
sorry.
are going to have trouble.
Oh,
I've got a really valuable, it's not a break front, but it is a display cabinet and it's an antique and it's French. And it's going to be hard, I guess, for them to get rid of that, which is a
oh,
shame,
yeah.
but oh well.
So,
Uh,
and then Joan has a question. Where did you get the frame for the book spine?
that's Karen's question. Karen, where'd you get the frame for that book stack thing? You're muted.
Oh,
I forget.
I understand.
There's no frame. It's just a spine with little shelves, and you just put the books in, and it supports all. I mean, these are hardback
I don't
books.
remember where you got that either.
Design for something, something for design. It's a modern, but you can just Google a book spine, and you come up with, there's more than one. You do have to be careful to try and stay, with more of the original, because there was a time where somebody knocked them off and they bent. So, but I don't think they're in business anymore. So it's just simple. Just put in Google a book spine, and if I think of that name, it's designed for something. I don't remember. So anyway,
Okay, thanks.
it runs $200-300.
One of the things I want to mention is there are companies, individuals also, who you can hire to come in and help you go through your things. I know that when my mother was moving, after my father passed away, we did have a woman, her name was Jody Present, I think, and she came in and it was very, very helpful. Again, there are people who do that say, you don't really need this, do you? And it helps people get through that, oh, I don't know, should I keep it, should I not? So that's, and they physically help too, which is good because, we can't do this ourselves. It's nice if we have kids that would be willing to do that, and maybe they will do some of it, but sometimes you just have to hire somebody who knows how to really do it and get you through it. So that is a good idea. The other thing any other questions we can talk about? Cheryl Stein?
Hi, so I am now in the process of downsizing, and I have a lot of collections. So they're very hard to get rid of. And I'm just boxing the ones that are most meaningful to me away. Our house is not on the market now, but our real estate agent said that now is the time to sell, but it's very competitive to buy. So we might need to move in an apartment, which I don't want to do. Any suggestions on how to, since I don't have a space and I don't have a floor plan and I don't know where we're going, and then plus the fact that if we move into an apartment that's really, really small, any suggestions how to do that?
Yes. There are lockers, there are storage places that you can rent. And I do suggest doing that. I have people who have done that. And that way you don't have to just give up everything and then regret it for when you do move again. I know the market right now is really hot and you can get top dollar for your house. So if you're considering that, it's a great time to sell. I have realtors calling me every day asking me if I want to sell my house. So I know right now is the top time, but you are right. On the other hand, it is also not the time to buy because everything is going to be so high. So you're actually thinking the right way to handle this market, and you can rent a space for storage and keep the things that you want to keep.
And do you know of any places have short-term leases on apartments?
I really don't. I know you can contact, there are agencies that deal strictly with apartments. And again, Google is the answer, but I personally do not know of any.
Karen, did you have something you wanted to say? No.
Nope. Okay. Well, I thought you had your hand up.
Yeah, I thought you did too.
I was waving goodbye to my husband.
Oh,
Okay, great. I wanted to just check my, let's see, only answer. Clothes. Anybody having trouble with closets full of clothes that you're saving because you think you're going to either lose weight and get back into them, or you just like looking at them, or you forgot you even had them? It's time. Even if you're not moving, it's time to get the clothes. And that's easy because lots of places take clothes. If they're newer clothes, of course, you can go to resale shops and maybe make a little money off of it. But if they're not, just donate them, because really that's the easy thing to do rather than the bigger, heavier things. But it makes a difference because you're still going to have to tackle that at a certain point if you are going to downsize. Um, just remember that when you're thinking about downsizing, think about, you know, where the next place you would go and how it would fit your needs. One of the things that happened to someone I knew that they didn't think it through, and they were at an age where, you know, moving twice is not a great idea. So I think that's an important aspect of, you know, where are you going to go? And like Cheryl's young, so she can move into an apartment and then move into a house. That's no big deal. For the rest of us that are not as young, um, it's important that we really think about where we're going and how that space is going to benefit us and what kind of services that would be there so that we don't just move without thinking through the future and how it will be, you know, used and how it will accommodate us. Pick one area. That's really important. When you're going to start tackling this overwhelming task, try to stay focused. Take a piece of paper and pencil, make a list, and then pick one area and just stay with that one area until you've accomplished it. I just received I just received this in the mail. I don't know if you guys got this, but this is a wonderful advantage. I get them every once in a while. This is a complimentary recycle event, and it's for electronics and paper shred event. They do charge for the electronics, and they have a list of the charges on them, but they are not charging for the paper shred up to 5 boxes. So that's also great. If you Google or you come across, like, I'm going to take some things to this recycle, and I've done that in the past. So whenever I get this opportunity, this is on April 10th from 9 to 11 at Chesterfield Town Center. And this is a great opportunity to accomplish something. And just even that one focus, if it's 5 boxes of papers you can get rid of, that's awesome. If it's one piece of electronic, you're still ahead of the game. And so watch for those kind of opportunities when they come, or Google to see if there is any shredding or recycle events near you.
A couple of people gave some recommendations. Give to N Resale or give to NCJW Resale Shop
Yeah,
on your clothing.
definitely.
Um, Also, Marlene said a Miriam shop has been taking donations of some of those things too. So
Right.
those are some recommendations.
And they do take some items other than clothing too. So check with them. I don't think they take large, large furniture pieces, but I'm not sure. But I know they take some items that are not just clothing. So definitely check with those places. I know I've donated things and it's really helpful. Anybody else want to? There's like things in the
I think
chat.
there's,
What's in the
I
chat?
guess I've been reading them to you.
Oh,
So there's not a new one right now.
okay.
Although Susan Keys just said old pictures are another project. You can take them and have them transferred to a CD. Offer them to family, which usually doesn't want them either, or just keep a few and throw the rest out.
That's true. Thanks, Susan. Oh, and you know what else? I got an email. No, where did I find it? Somehow it came up that was talking about the value of things. For example, Disney VHS tapes, you know, the 8-track movies. And it was, I have a lot of them. And actually, after seeing that, I went downstairs with my granddaughter yesterday. We pulled them all out. And I have a whole set of the what's called the masterpiece set. And the ones that are highly valuable are the Black Diamond. I only have 3 of the Black Diamond classics, but you can sell these things. You can sell them on eBay, and I think you can sell them in a couple other places, but there's value to some of the things we don't even think of. I thought they were just, you know, going to go in the garbage. But when I read that, it's like, whoa, wait a minute, I'm going to check that out. And eBay is a great resource for selling some of your things. Neighborhood sites, that's another wonderful place. Nextdoor, I think. Yeah, mine's called Nextdoor. And there's a lot of neighborhood sites like Nextdoor. And you can post things to sell as well as give away. I mean, they'll come pick them up. If you just say, I'm giving this away, come get it, they will pick them up. So also on the Republic service, you can call them and arrange to have things that you can put out at the curb, and they will take them from there. Bigger things I'm talking about. So there's ways to get rid of that type of thing too. But Nextdoor is a great resource. Dee Berman, yeah, hi.
I have put stuff on Facebook Marketplace, which is local. It's on the local area. And I've also sold books on Amazon. Right now, it's kind of a problem because you can't talk to anybody on the phone there at Amazon, but I've been doing that for years.
Cool.
Good idea.
It's got to be worth your while. For $5 or $10, it's not worth it. But
well, right, because don't you have to pay to ship them?
they pay to ship them like $3.99, and then but Amazon will take a percentage. I'm not sure about eBay, but Amazon will take like 20%. So it's got to be worth your while to do it.
Okay.
You know, you can look up and see what the books are worth, and if you want to sell it, then there's a place to add sell mine.
So what was the other site that you said was local?
Facebook.
Oh, Facebook
Marketplace.
Oh, okay, that sounds good too.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm getting this information from me too, guys. This is just for your benefit. This is helping me. Marketplace.
And Linda Sandmel's had a suggestion as well. Fantastic Finds near Schnucks Bellerive also takes items. So just another note.
That's a resale shop?
Yeah, Linda says yes.
Yeah, the resale shops are good. And they're selective, because I know there's another resale shop up at Clayton Road and 141 for furniture, but they don't take everything. They have really nice things. It's a nice store. So that's always an opportunity as well. The resale shops are a good avenue.
And Karen, I'm sorry. I wanted to let you know, Karen said she found where to get the book spine. Go to Design Within Reach. It's on sale now for 15% off. There are other places, just Google book spine.
Oh, good. Thanks, Karen. Pamela.
I have a fair amount of my grandmother and mother's nice old dishes and glassware. My experience is that those items aren't very appealing to most people who are building their households now. Do you have any suggestions for places to donate? And this would really touch on the sentimental thing. Some of them I'm going to have to really struggle with donating, but I don't want to just put them in a bin and have them either get broken or go to the clubhouse and have somebody not appreciate it, you know? So I'm just interested in your suggestions.
I have a place where you can donate pots, pans. There's a place down on North 13th Street, home, I think it's called Haven Home, for unwed mothers that are pregnant. And I took all of my brother's pots, pans, dishes, and they were so grateful for it. Baby clothes, you can donate there. They have a room for 13 girls, and most of them, they're supposed to be working, but they were very grateful for what I took down there. My mother's pots and pans were kosher, and I called at that time a home for, it was on St. Charles Rock Road, but I had everything marked meat, dairy, and there are women from abused homes that do keep kosher, and they were grateful for that. And then they said a lot of times abused women come in with nothing on their, only the clothes on their back. So I grabbed all my mother's clothes and took them again to meet the lady over at a gas station on Natural Bridge. So there are places downtown, men's clothing they'll take at St.
How
Patrick's.
did you find them, Barbara?
How did I find them?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just came across it. The only bad thing about St. Patrick's Place, they're not taking them now because of COVID.
Right. That is,
And so I just have a bag, and whenever things open up, I didn't want anything sold. I wanted it to go someplace that people could use.
yeah, that's great. That's great. That would be a wonderful thing if somebody in the community ever wanted to do, is to actually put together a book of all the resources that we could go to for all the things that we've been talking about. So if any of you feel creative or ambitious, give that a thought. We would love it. You can just do it online. You don't have to have a hard copy or anything. But if you ever feel ambitious, that would be really cool.
Marlene also offered, she said there's a place in Webster Groves called the Green Goose that takes consignments. I have sold some things through them. The amount you get is about like a garage sale, and they are picky about what they take, but at least you can get out of the house, get it out of the house.
Right.
So
Yeah, there
I
are
think they're
several.
furniture. They're more furniture, aren't they, Marlene? I think they're mostly furniture, dishes maybe, but I think they're mostly furniture items.
Now there is a site, and my sister hopefully will help me remember this, where it's called Replacement. I think that's what it's called, like where you can, if you needed to find pieces for your china, like if you were trying to, if you broke something, if you broke a plate or if you broke a crystal or something, you could go to this Replacement and they'll buy from you because they need to have these items so that they can fill the orders they need. But I can't, Karen, do you remember what I'm talking about? Unmute. Unmute. Oh,
It didn't do it.
okay.
Yeah, it's Replacement Limited. It's in North Carolina. And they buy low, they sell high. And even if you're paying a fortune for a piece that you really need and want, you're happy. But as far as selling them, I tried doing that. And
Oh,
basically, only if they need or want them, then if you, and then you got to send them. They don't pay for all that. And if they don't want them, you got to bring them back.
oh, bummer.
It was not something that I would get involved in.
No, that sounds
I
terrible.
do know that there's people that drive their stuff up there because, you know, they make a trip out of it because the place is absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's acres and acres of china and silver and crystal and all this stuff. So it is quite a thing to see, but not if you have to use the mail.
No. Uh, Judy, is there, I noticed the chat. I haven't been able to read the chat because I wouldn't have time. Is there people putting listings of places on the chat that they're suggesting?
Yeah, that's what I've been reading to you from the chat box, like the Green Goose, Miriam Shop,
Oh, okay.
and Fantastic Finds, and some of those others. So, I mean, we could take some of those off of the chat and send it out to everyone here
Oh, that'd be awesome.
in an email later. If you'd like, I can do that.
Yay, I would. Karen?
Okay.
I have another suggestion for clothing.
Mm.
I'm not sure whether you have it in your area, but dress for success.
Yes.
And suited up for what is it? Anyway, I love giving clothes to those organizations because that helps people go on interviews and get jobs, and they don't have the clothes to do it, and they have to suit it up for success and dress for success. Suited up is for mainly men, and the dress is both. So
Right.
if you find one in your area, it's a great place to
Right.
people get ahead.
Yeah, they also have those for teenage girls for like prom clothes and things like that I've donated to.
Yeah.
Of course, this is all before COVID. I don't know what the story is
Right.
at this point, but you can always check it out. Judy, how are we doing?
We're winding down here. Barb, if you have another question, and then I think we'll have to close the session for today. Barb, go ahead. Unmute.
Hold on. Okay. I've also been realizing that you can take pictures of some of the things that mean a lot to you, that you want to get rid of them, but you want to remember them. So taking pictures of things is really good. And by the way, while you've been talking, I've already made a stack of books to get rid of. But anyway, I was
Barb,
that-
don't forget the used book sale that the J does every year.
right.
I know COVID stopped it this year, but don't forget them because they're always looking for
Yeah,
books.
right. But about taking pictures of things, I think that's a good idea.
Great idea. Yeah.
Great idea.
Hey, everybody, thanks so much for joining me this morning. Hope you learned something. I know I did, so thank you for that information. And I hope we had some fun. I did, so hope you did too. And it was
Thank you
great
so much.
talking to you, Karen.
Thank you so much, Linda. This was informative, and thank you everybody for joining us today. And hope we have a good day. And we had lots of good information from Linda. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Linda. Thank
Help,
you, Linda.
Judy. I couldn't have done this without you, Judy. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're so very welcome. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.